Help conserve Florida's flats fishery with the new Bonefish and Tarpon Trust license plate. Visit btt.org to reserve plates for your vehicle and boat trailer today.
When the holidays start to feel a bit repetitive, reach for a Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry and put your twist on tradition. A bold cranberry and winter spice flavor fusion, Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry is a refreshing way to shake things up this sipping season. And only for a limited time. Sprite. Obey your thirst.
Welcome to the Casting Across Fly Fishing Podcast. I'm Matthew of castingacross.com, where I explore the quarry and culture of fly fishing. Merry Christmas. If you're listening to this on the day that it comes out, it is Christmas 2025. But if you're listening to it in days, weeks, or even months in the future, Merry Christmas still. I think the incarnation is worth celebrating 365 days a year. I know I do. Well, I am going back into a practice that I had done a few times in the early years of Casting Across for Christmas, and that is go to the public domain and read something that I think is worth reading and worth listening to, but just kind of changing the pace of what I usually do on Casting Across. Now today, for this reading, I'm going to go to an essay by Colonel E.Z.C. Judson, aka Ned Buntline, and this was found in Charles F. Orvis's 1883 Fishing with the Fly. This is one of the most prominent books of the end of the 19th century when it came to angling. It went through a number of reprints, and in this original 1883 edition, this would have been the final contribution or essay that you found in this volume. So I think you'll enjoy it. There's some things that are certainly pertinent to today. Fly Fishing by Colonel E.Z.C. Judson. Fishermen are born such, not made. That is my private opinion, publicly expressed. It is founded upon the experience of a full half a century on ocean, lake, river, and brook. I have taken a mature man with me on a fishing trip who had never cast a line in pleasant places, lent him rod and tackle, made a few casts in his presence, caught perhaps a half a dozen trout, and then watched his imitative power combine with the tact born in him. If he was one of the right sort, he would go right on improving every hour, and in a little while begin to fill his creel with the best of us. My personal knowledge of fish and fishing began early. My father had a few superiors as an angler, and trouting was his specialty. He made his own rods, lines, and flies. The first was an tapering ashen pole, generally about 10 feet long, scraped, oiled, and varnished, till it was as smooth and bright as glass. The line was made from horsehair and braided with a care and patience that used to be a wonder to me. The blue jay, the red-headed woodpecker, the pheasant, and wood duck were shot for fly feathers. When I was a wee toddler in skirts, I used to hold hooks and snells and play at helping papa. All this was done here at the head of the Delaware, where both my father and myself were born. But a change came. When I was about 6 years old, my father bought a large tract of wild land in the wildest part of Wayne County, Pennsylvania, and settled on it. The Lackawaxen Creek ran right through it, and that lovely stream was literally alive with speckled trout. From all day we entered our log house there, I was a fisher boy. I caught trout every day in the summer, for a big spring rose within a rod of the house, and from it ran a lovely brook to the main stream, 10 rods away, and even a pinhook and linen thread would draw them out. As I grew older, I would go with my father to the big eddies and deep holes, where he would lure the largest to his fly, and I was only too utterly happy when allowed to wade waist deep in the water to carry or float his string of trout toward home. Since then, never a summer has passed, except when actively engaged in naval or military service for my country, that has not found me fishing somewhere. I have covered the best waters in Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. Canada and British provinces know me of old. California, Oregon, and British Columbia, all along the Big Rockies, have seen me testing flies and bait, the former often tied rudely on the spur of necessity, but generally very effectively. For where trout are very plenty, food is scarce, and they will bite at anything. I speak of trout mostly, for that is my favorite fish. Salmon next, although the work comes in when you strike anything over 8 or 10 pounds, and sport degenerates when it becomes labor. I have heard of labors of love, but I never took stock in anything of the kind. In all this active pescatorial life, I have studied fishermen as well as fish, and I have come to the conclusion, which opens this article, that fishermen are born for it and can't be manufactured out of raw material. I have felt thankful to our Father above that 9 out of 10 of the tourists who take to the streams in easy reach are indifferent fishermen, for thereby the streams still contain fish. Were all who fish in them skillful and hoggish, in a little while there would be no fishing except in faraway places, difficult to reach. I do not claim to hold a master's degree as a fly fisherman. I do delight in the art, for one of the arts and sciences it surely is. I have bowed my head in reverence before the skilled hand of my dear friend, George Dawson, now beside the bright waters of the happy land above. I have stood silent and pleased while Seth Green deftly made casts which I could only feebly imitate. Yet those who know me best say that I can use a fly rod and catch trout and salmon therewith. So I essay a few words on the subject, speaking only from my own experience. I have never been observant enough to see a trout strike a fly with his tail, drown it, and then eat it. I always take a trout in the mouth on the fly, generally hooked in the upper lip, showing that he does his part of the business in a straightforward way and does not come tail first to the lure. I own to be a little particular about my rod, the middle joint not too limber, but with backbone as well as spring. It suits me if it tapers so as to describe a perfect arc when the tip is brought near the butt. I specify no makers, though I own to favorites in that line. I wish to make no petty jealousies here. As a rod near 10 feet long as may be, for trout fishing, weight from 7 to 8 ounces, never over 10, with a reel close to and under the butt, an easy running click reel, a line of braided hair and silk, strong and weighty enough for a cast against the wind as well as with it, a clear, strong loop leader for a quick change of flies, a book well supplied with the latter to give the speckled beauties a choice, and I am ready for work. The idea of special flies for special seasons of the year I have found to be a humbug. Trout are exceedingly whimsical about flies. Watch those that are on the stream, see which the trout leap for, and get as near to the like of them as your book will allow. Always, if possible, fish downstream. It is easier. You can detect swirls, eddies, shaded pools, coverts of rock, mossy banks, and overhanging branches. From above, better than below. Trout do not scare so easily that a cast of 15 or 20 feet will not find them ready to rise if they are hungry. You have also the aid of the current in guiding your fly to each coveted spot after it touches the water. Enter a stream, say its average width is 75 or 100 feet. Few of our mountain streams are such, and a skilled rodster can cover with ease, for wading down lie chooses his water, makes his cast, seldom over 20 or 25 feet of line a cast, much often less, and in good waters fills his creel. For a forward cast, with your line as far out as may be necessary for the distance, throw your rod sharply back at an angle to not over 15 degrees, then bring it forward quickly till, as your line and flies are extended, the tip of it is on a level with your breast. Never lower so as to dip water. With line taut, so to speak, if a trout rises as to your fly or flies in such a stream, a sharp, quick turn of the wrist will strike the hook home and secure him. Your strike must be firm and decisive. Give the trout 1 second to understand, then he spits the fly out. Laugh if you will, but that's what he does. When hooked, it is not too large for your tackle. Draw the trout swiftly to you, lift him out, and break his neck by bending back the head where it joins the backbone. Thus he is out of pain, and does not bruise and flop himself soft while dying in your creel. Playing a trout, for the mere fun of the thing, is unnecessary torture. Besides, you frighten more than you secure in the process. A very large trout, of course, must be weakened in the water, but many fishermen think that there is no sport without they play a fish, no matter how small he is. Never cast a foot more line than you need. You cannot gather slack half as easy as you can pay it out. In regards to flies, I have found the brighter the day, as general thing, the darker the fly do trout want. At early dawn, or in the soft twilight of evening, a very light fly, a coachman is best. Next, gray miller, and especially the stonefly. I use more coachman, black gnats, and stoneflies in one season than I do all other flies put together in 3 summers. Be sure, of all things, that your line runs easy through the standing guide, just guide rings. I like the former best. In casting right or left, to reach under bushy or overhanging limbs, the same sharp or quick action which makes an overcast successful is required, and great care not to draw any slack line when your fly drops where you want it. Many fly fishermen are considered adepts according to the length rather than the grace and certainty of their casts. I do not think in actual stream fishing and average days of casting would reach over 15 feet to a cast. I never made but one very long cast in actual angling in my life. Once, on the bank of a mill pond in the upper part of Alder Brook in Ulster County, New York, I saw a trout in shoal water, the largest I'd ever caught in that vicinity. To reach him without alarm, I cast 72 feet, measured afterward from the knot on my line, used my reel, and I got my fish. He weighed 2¼ pounds, and I had to play him some to save him. And now, with a word to young fishermen and old beginners, I will close. Learn first to cast a line and take a trout with bait before you try a fly. You will thereby gain confidence. Learn to hook your fish at the instant he strikes, and gain the supple use of arm and wrist which makes the fly fisherman skillful. My dear wife, by whose sick bed I pen these words, for one long joyous summer at camp, fished by my side, using bait, while she saw me casting no lure but flies. The next time we went on the stream, she had a 6-ounce fly rod, and 50 beautiful trout in 2 hours to her basket proved how apt a pupil she had been. With many words of cheer to all who love this glorious pastime, I remain, as of yore, Uncle Ned, a born fisherman. There you have it. Once again, that is Fly Fishing by Colonel Judson, and that is found in the 1883 edition of Charles Orvis' Fishing with the Fly. You can find that book online pretty easily through the public domain, but you can maybe go out and find yourself a used copy. And as you can see, that was one chapter. It took me about 10 minutes to read it. I know I talk a little bit fast, but there's some really good stuff in there that is, in some senses, quaint, in some ways, common sense, and in other ways, particularly insightful. Just the common sense, almost proverbial nature of that essay is one of the things that I have always enjoyed about it. With that, I'm going to begin to wrap up this week's podcast episode. Like I said, I got places to be. This week on Casting Across, the first article is called Talking Books with the Fly Fishing Consultant. Last week, in my recommendation, I alluded to the fact that Rob Snow White's Fly Fishing Consultant podcast came out with an episode where Rob interviewed me about fly fishing books. You hear me talk about that all the time. Now you get to hear someone ask me questions about that. So there's a link and actually a direct play button right there on that article in Casting Across to get to Rob's podcast, where we talk for about an hour and a half about fly fishing books, among a number of other things. Wednesday's article is called Joy Seen and Known. Joy Seen and Known. And this is what it said. It's really short. Fly fishers should understand joy as well as anyone. Joy is less about outcomes as it is about opportunity. Or, true anglers celebrate fishing with a similar perspective whether they're catching fish or not. Dedicated fly fishers just want to be out on the water. Weather, insect hatches, and the bite are merely variables that go into an equation that equals joy. This culture conflates joy with happiness. Here's the problem with that. Happiness depends on you. You establish a list of conditions or adopt a series of expectations from someone else. Anything short of that, and happiness dissipates. Happiness is fine and good, but you can't count on it any more than you can count on the fish to cooperate. Joy only has one condition, one expectation. It is enjoying what is true, good, and beautiful. The ethos of fly fishing, among many other outdoor pursuits, prioritizes the joy of observing heaven and nature. The fields and floods, rocks, hills, and plains, where trout may be found, inspire wonder. Happiness may elude you, but the joy is always there. Even though there are patently clear curses on the ground, the creation echoes an eon-old goodness. More to the point, it cries out for her Creator's majesty. And while he is seen through creation, he is known because of Christmas. Joy to the world, indeed. And with that, I will leave you for this episode of the podcast. My only recommendation is that you have a very Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas from Casting Across. Thank you for listening to the Casting Across Fly Fishing Podcast. Please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. Rate the podcast in Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Then head over to castingacross.com for 3 posts a week on the people, places, and things that go into the pursuit of fish.
The high-octane phenomenon, Sisu Road to Revenge, comes home with a bang. It's an insane ride and an adrenaline-filled action epic. Critics are raving with an explosive 96% score and certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, saying it's the action spectacular of the year, with some of the craziest fight set pieces ever put to screen. Don't miss the ultimate adventure. Get it now on Prime Video, Apple TV, or Fandango at home. Rated R.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here. Wishing you a very happy half-off holiday, because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. And Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day, yeah? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.